So, Gaffer, a 1-1 draw yesterday at Boreham. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I thought it was as always. I think we make it an entertaining game for the neutrals and an exciting advert for National League football. It'd be nice if we made it slightly less exciting in some respects, and we control these recent games a little bit more. But overall, I'm pleased with the performance, and I think the lads have come away from it buoyed by some really positive aspects to our play.
Of course, there were a couple of changes to the starting 11. Jack Senior, the most notable, missing out obviously with an injury. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, dead leg from Southend. I mean, he got it quite early on in the Southend game and soldiered on like Jack does, played through it. But we knew after the game it was going to be touch and go for him to be able to play on Saturday. But we left it right up the wire, and the decision was made Friday morning. So, but opportunities for other players to come in and play. Get minutes and show what they can do, and I think we had a couple of performances there from players who were coming in after not playing many minutes recently that they can be relatively pleased with.
Of course, obviously the game didn't get off to the best start, conceding after just 10 minutes, and it was a disappointing goal to concede as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, disappointing on a number of levels, really, Luke. I think obviously Max Wright will be the one who's sort of holding his head after the goals conceded, because he's played the loose pass into the midfield and set them on an attack that we didn't need to set them on. But I think we've had opportunities after the loose pass to rectify it. We always talk about goals coming from consecutive errors, and I think this is an example of that. The first error is the most glaring and the one that attracts all the attention, but other players had the opportunity to help put it right after that initial event, and unfortunately we didn't. So yeah, it was disappointing on a number of levels, that one.
We did create a few chances in that first half, but nothing sort of too clear cut, and you'd probably say Boreham had the better of that first half.
But I disagree. I think as an away first half, if you take the mistake and the goal out of it, which obviously we've gifted them, they've obviously had the moments with Bush's long throw, which is a significant threat, and anybody who saw the Boreham Solihull game will see that he caused an awful lot more problems for Solihull with that long throw than they did for us. So all in all, as an away performance at Solihull, that first half we would take as fairly positive had we not gone in 1-0 down at half time, which clearly we shouldn't have done. So it's perspectives really, and I think we've got to look at it in its entirety as a 45 minutes of football and say, look, we bedded ourselves well into the game. We weathered a bit of a storm in terms of some of those extra sets that Chris Bush launches into the box, and we coped. We defended robustly and coped with that threat reasonably well for large periods of the first half. And like you mentioned, Luke, we created a number of chances ourselves. So I think that the disappointment and the feeling that comes after conceding such an unnecessary goal maybe mars what wasn't a bad 45 minutes away from home against a very, very direct, physical, robust team who just keep putting it on you.
But then certainly in the second half we got on the front foot a lot more, and what a goal it was from Millington to equalise.
Yeah, and we grew into it, and it's a mark of the team now that it would have been very easy after conceding such a disappointing goal for us to heads to drop, people to start to feel that sense of woe is me and how unlucky are we, and what all of that negativity that can come from conceding such a goal. But they didn't. They cracked on. They focused on the game plan and making sure they did the next thing right. And over the period of the next hour, we really grew into the game and wrestled some control, I think, in periods of the game. And much the same as Barnet, disappointing as it is to say, I think there wouldn't have been too many who'd have had many complaints if we'd have nicked it, if we'd have come away victors and took 3 points there. But as it is, I think we've got to be satisfied that a draw was probably a fair result.
And of course, that was the third of 3 tough away games this last week. Obviously, slightly contrasting results. We got the FA Trophy progression at Maidenhead last Saturday, losing at Southend on Tuesday, but then the draw yesterday.
Yeah, and I think we've got to look at the last 3 league games. So I include Barnet in that, Barnet, Southend, and obviously yesterday's game. We come away and there's an awful lot of positives out of that. There's not a huge amount in terms of results and points there that we can take consolation in, but certainly there's a lot of aspects of the performances that we're really positive about and we're really pleased about. I think if we maintain those levels of intensity, those levels of work rate, and we keep creating the number of chances we're creating, I think we're going to start to put a run together. Clearly, we've got to do that because with every passing game, we're moving further and further away from where we want to be in the division and where we believe we can be. So it's vitally important that with this run of home games that are coming up, we start to turn these performances into results. But you're right, it's not been an easy few games when you include the trophy, and that covered a lot of miles over the last 7 or 8 days. We've played some very direct, very physical teams, which aren't always the easiest of oppositions to come up against. And although we rue the results in those league games a little, we certainly have an awful lot of positives to take out of them, and the away fans have, I think, have mirrored that because the reception and the support has been fantastic from them.
Of course, obviously you mentioned it there. Still no let up in the fixtures as we return to the Shave. What feels like the first time in a lifetime as we host Solihull Moors.
Yeah, I mean, we've hardly played there, have we? Since we played Dorking at the beginning of December, we've hardly any games at home. It's and that in itself is a challenge, being on the road as much as we have. So we're looking forward to getting a run of games at home. We're clearly a team who like the big pitch at the Shea. We like the big open spaces, and we feel we can exploit teams with our strengths in those bigger expanses. So we're looking forward to getting a run of games at home and hopefully turning these performances into some positive results now, so we can really get our teeth into the running.